Everyone who enjoys watching films knows and loves Gene Hackman, the actor who has portrayed several iconic roles. The French Connection and Unforgiven, in which Hackman starred, are two of the most iconic films of all time, and audiences still talk about him. When he stepped away from the spotlight, though, what happened to this beloved celebrity? Come back with us as we delve into the lesser-known life of Gene Hackman. Without a shadow of a doubt, Gene Hackman is among the most accomplished and famous actors of our time. On January 30th, 1930, in San Bernardino, California, USA, he entered this world as Eugene Allen Hackman. Anna Lyda Elizabeth Hackman and Eugene Ezra Hackman were his parents. Gray Hackman, who shared ancestry with Scottish, English, and Pennsylvania Dutch ancestry. His mom had emigrated to America from Canada, but he was born here. Due to his father's job as a local newspaper reporter, Hackman spent much of his childhood constantly on the road. This restlessness manifested itself in his restless behavior. A less-than-ideal family dynamic emerged from this inability to commit to a single location. The decision to divorce Hackman's parents was made when he was 13 years old. He suffered emotionally from the parents' divorce and, more specifically, from his father's absence. Without so much as a parting gesture through the car window, his father vanished from his son's life. The experience had a profound effect on Hackman, molding his future roles in relation to the dramatic elements of acting. Despite everything going on around him, Hackman found refuge and relief in the neighborhood theaters. When he was just 10 years old, he had his first exposure to films, and ever since then he has loved them. Hackman was inspired to pursue acting after seeing James Cagney's electrifying and well-timed performances. Nevertheless, Hackman's father's absence and the family's financial struggles ignited a need for him to take action. The capacity of cinema to portray human emotions and narratives to which the young Hackman could connect was of particular interest to him. Throughout his formative years, Hackman was certain about his chosen career path. He always wanted to be an actor, but his ambition only intensified as he got older. After finishing high school, he briefly resided in Storm Lake, Iowa. However, he departed at the age of 16 as a result of his active personality and the difficult circumstances at home. Hackman lied about his age to enlist in the U.S. Marine Corps in pursuit of independence and an escape from his past life. This marked the beginning of a new phase in his life that would eventually lead to his return to acting following his military service. Thus, this marked a watershed moment in his life. It was caused by his determination to escape his family's surroundings and secure a solid employment. The 4.5 years that Hackman served were filled with the rigorous requirements and strict regimentation expected of a man in the military. While serving in the Marines, Hackman was initially stationed in Qingdao and subsequently in Shanghai in China. During his stay in Asia, he witnessed several pivotal historical moments, like the Communist Revolution, which led to the communist takeover of mainland China in 1949. Hackman was sent to Japan and subsequently Hawaii, as was customary in the military, due to the political situation changing. Hackman served as a field radio operator in the Marines, an important position that required precision, reliability, and responsibility. In addition to preparing him for a career in acting, it taught him the importance of responsibility and a professional attitude to his work. The military brought structure and order, but Hackman's defiant personality and discomfort with authority occasionally caused problems. Even while serving his country, he maintained the defiant attitude he had when he was a teenager. Hackman returned to civilian life after his 1951 discharge, having learned valuable lessons from his time in the Marine Corps. He was also quite effective because of the discipline he learned in the military. Throughout his time spent breaking into the acting industry, particularly in New York City. In his pursuit of acting roles, the self-control and resolve he honed in the Marines came in handy as he battled rejection and held down odd jobs. The actor Gene Hackman moved to New York City in 1951 to pursue a career in acting. His transition from military to civilian life marked the beginning of a challenging period for him. As an actor trying to make it big in New York City's cutthroat industry, Hackman had to juggle a number of low-paying jobs. Financial and emotional hardships marred Hackman's formative years in New York. The jobs he had as a doorman and mover were not ideal, but they paid enough for him to get by. Even though he kept getting turned down at auditions, he never gave up on his dream of being an actress. His acting career took a nosedive after his debut. He nearly gave up after encountering so many obstacles and criticisms. Things changed while he was playing at the Pasadena Playhouse in California. The Playhouse was well known for its rigorous training standards and its pupils' fierce competition. When pupils were asked to select a classmate they thought had the least chance of succeeding in life, Hackman was given the lowest ranking among other unsavory evaluations. Dustin Hoffman and he became pals at this place. They were both poor, and there were moments when they had trouble affording food and other basics. Not only would this friendship be formative in terms of support and education, but it would also have an impact on Hackman's perseverance. He connected with Hoffman on a deep level and laid the groundwork for future success. The 1967 classic film Bonnie Clyde was Gene Hackman's first leading role in a feature film. The role of Buck Barrow, brother of Clyde Barrow, in the fictional film was a breakthrough for actor Gene Hackman. This part solidified Clement's status in Hollywood, as he got critical praise. This set the stage for other 1960s films to be commercial successes. Acting in Bonnie and Clyde catapulted Hackman to stardom, and his career took off from there. The French Connection, a critically acclaimed 1971 picture, offered him the role of Jimmy Popeye Doyle, a tough and dogged New York police detective, and he accepted. This was the turning point in his career. He won the Oscar for Best Actor for his performance in this role. The film did rather well at the box office. Critics praised the picture for its realistic portrayal of police work and the iconic automobile chase scene, which set a precedent for many subsequent films. Hackman continued to have success in the 1970s. Francis Ford Coppola's 1974 film The Conversation featured Gene Hackman in the role of a surveillance expert grappling with ethical quandaries. This picture solidified Hackman's position as a formidable and adaptable actor. It garnered multiple Oscar nominations and the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. At this time in his career, he also played a pivotal role as Lex Luthor in Superman 1978. By moving from realistic criminal films like The French Connection and conspiracy films like The Conversation to fantastical action superhero films like Superman, Hackman was able to explore with diverse genres. Superman's villain was portrayed by Hackman in a way that was both charming and comically diabolical, which drew in the audience. Not only did these parts from the 60s and 70s demonstrate Hackman's versatility, but they also solidified his status as Hollywood's top actor. Hackman always had a remarkable talent for captivating audiences with his diverse characters, whether it was in tragic crime pictures or action-packed superhero flicks. Hackman solidified his already impressive reputation as one of Hollywood's most versatile and gifted actors throughout the 80s and 90s. He proved throughout those 20 years that he was a multi-talented actor capable of adapting to many types of screenplays. There were comedies among the dramas and thrillers. Acting in Clint Eastwood's 1992 film Unforgiven was arguably one of Hackman's most notable acting accomplishments. Playing the role of the harsh yet multifaceted sheriff of a Western American town at the end of the 19th century, Hackman brought his A game in this film. His portrayal of Jay Gatsby was so convincing that he won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. Consequently, Unforgiven was praised for its narrative and cinematic direction and offered more than just the story of a gunslinger trying to retire and find salvation. The picture was fantastic and took home the Best Picture Oscar, but Hackman's turn as the lead was crucial in elevating the character and making the part feel more real. Hackman kept his distinctive acting approach after Unforgiven and went on to take on more parts. Playing the starring part of Patrick in the 1993 film The Firm, based on the best-selling novel by John Grisham, was his big break. Perhaps just as crucial to the film's suspense and mystery was Hackman's performance as Avery Toller, a lawyer at a firm who takes precautions not to let people into his office because of his raging past. In the 1995 film Crimson Tide, adapted from a novel by John Steinbeck, he played the constable to Captain Frank Ramsey opposite Denzel Washington. In this more combative setting, Hackman's ability to portray both inner torment and command shone through. In 1996's The Birdcage, Hackman showed his comedic chops as a conservative senator who gets into a comically awkward scenario with a gay cabaret owner and his cross-dressing companion. This part demonstrated that Hackman is versatile and can hold his own in comedic and dramatic roles. However, Gene occasionally had issues of his own, even with the other performers. Hackman plays the role of a despondent college professor whose connection with his father, Melvin Douglas, is strained in the film I Never Sang for My Father. A rift develops between the father and son when Gene Garrison Hackman expresses an interest in getting married again and moving to California. Two actors, Hackman for Best Supporting Actor and Melvin Douglas for Best Leading Actor, were nominated for the same award. Their performances were riveting because they captured the spirit of family and the hardships of aging so well. Things weren't so sunny, though, for the celebrities on screen. Hackman admitted to film comment in a subsequent interview that he and Douglas had different opinions on occasion. Although Hackman and Douglas became close, Hackman suffered an even greater blow when he learned, while filming, that Douglas had preferred another actor to play his son. Ironically, the on-screen character's conflict feelings were amplified by this off-screen conflict. According to an interview with Hackman, the film's hostile atmosphere is a result of the fact that he and Douglas did not speak to each other off-camera while filming. In spite of their enmity, Hackman and Douglas injected intensity to their performances that elevated the film and earned them Oscar nominations for both of them. Gene Hackman decided to retire from acting in the early 2000s after a long career. Many things were on his mind when he made this decision, including his health and the desire for a simpler existence. The 2004 comedy Welcome to Mooseport was Hackman's last feature film. Even after the film's release, he maintained his intention to not return to acting and admitted that he needed a break to focus on his health and personal life. After Hackman retired, he had a history of frequent illness. A terrible terror had previously gripped his own being. This was the moment when he realized he couldn't keep making action films. On Larry King Live in 2004, the actor made an appearance, assert that his heart's inability to cope with the demands of an active acting profile was finally broken by a cardiac exam in New York. After immersing himself in the demanding world of Hollywood, he expressed a desire to prioritize his health. After relocating to Santa Fe, New Mexico, he became even more sedentary. Hackman carried on with his everlasting passions, such as writing in Santa Fe. Wake of the Perdido Star, Justice for None, and others are works of historical fiction co-written with underwater archaeologist Daniel Linehan. He found a less strenuous way to express himself creatively through writing, which allowed him to tell stories. Furthermore, after spending so many years in the spotlight, Hackman desired the independence and solitude that New Mexico offered him during his retirement. He continued to cycle on nature paths far into his 80s, despite having a history of health problems, because he found beauty in being outside. His passion of architecture was on full display in his Santa Fe home, which overlooked magnificent landscapes and interiors. Gene Hackman has been relatively quiet in recent years, appearing only at book signings, interviews for released films and books, and occasional appearances at ceremonies and events outside of Hollywood. In light of this, keep in mind that he withdrew from performing and fame to prioritize his health and achieve his happiness goals. Hackman was able to enjoy his successes and pursue other hobbies after making this pivot away from the constant attention that comes with being a Hollywood star. But after his Hollywood career ended, he devoted more time to writing. Wake of the Perdido Star and Justice for None are two historical fictions he co-wrote with underwater archaeologist Daniel Linehan. His extraordinary aptitude for history and storytelling, which he may have honed in his acting career, is on full display in these two works. Hackman has had a lot of freedom to write about her experiences in the performing business. Furthermore, unlike the production of a film, they do not necessitate physically demanding efforts. Hackman also has a great deal of enthusiasm for writing. Physical fitness and improved mental health are two of the many benefits of writing that he sees. Given his enthusiasm for the activity and the rugged terrain surrounding Santa Fe, it is ideal for this pursuit. On top of getting some exercise, it keeps him connected to the outdoors and the environment around him. Hackman has also made his family a top focus since he began his retirement plan. Hackman has worked really hard to make sure he spends quality time with his children, despite the fact that he was always on the move for work. Until this year, he avoided the spotlight. Joined by his wife, the actor was spotted. It has been 21 years since Betsy Arakawa was last seen. Photographs were taken of the two in Santa Fe, New Mexico's Papado's Seafood Kitchen. Attending the 2003 Golden Globes was his last public appearance. The interviewee, a 32-year-old Hackman who clutched to his wife and utilized a cane, appeared to be in good spirits. He had a beige baseball cap, sunglasses, olive green cargo pants, lace-up hiking boots, a gray wool waistcoat atop a checkered shirt, and other accessories. It appeared from his attire that he was content with his retirement away from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. Arakawa, Hackman's wife of 34 years and a 62-year-old classical musician, was beside him. During his 2 marriages, the gifted Gene Hackman had 3 children with his first spouse. Christopher Allen Hackman, his son, and 2 daughters were born to his 1956 marriage to Faye Maltese. Hackman, Elizabeth Jean, and Hackman, Leslie Ann. Their 30 years of marriage ended in a divorce in 1986. He wed Betsy Arakawa for a second time in 1991. Living in a home that was featured in Architectural Digest in 1990, the couple now resides in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Hackman has discussed his career and legacy in interviews and in his infrequent public appearances. Both his acting successes and the emotional development he has undergone since leaving Hollywood are themes that he frequently discusses. Both the varied and strong characters he played and his dedication to self-improvement in his latter years are important to Hackman's legacy. In addition to his many awards, Hackman will be remembered for the influence he had on the performing world. His colleagues actors have spoken highly of him, praising him as a generous scene partner who had a way of bringing out the best in others. Many of his co-workers have praised his dedication to acting and his appreciation for the teamwork involved in making a film. The unique and significant impact of Gene Hackman's contributions to film and acting on society continues to this day. The actor's ability to move audiences around the globe was evident throughout his filmography. He has been incredibly influential thanks to his performances and his talent at playing a wide variety of roles.